sketching, doodling, painting, art and craft, you might be good at these things. The question comes when you're in 9th and 10th. Should I do engineering or should I take design, architecture, art? Somewhere in your heart, you have a voice which is calling you to take that as a profession. But someone will tell you, why don't you take it as a hobby? Well, I can't tell you exactly what should you do. But in this video, we're going to look at the difference between art, design and architecture. Let's go one by one. You might have heard of interior designing. You might have heard of graphic designing. But there's also graphic art and there's also interior art. And somewhere, if I ask you, what do you think is the difference between art and design? You can pause the video right here and think. Well, you kind of know it. You might be struggling to articulate what do you think is the difference between art and design. Let us try to understand it in simple terms. You look at a painting. The painter is trying to express something through his or her painting. Or let me give you a simpler example. Have you heard of manholes? What is the shape of the lid? It is generally a circle. Why is it a circle? Few years back, around 15-20 years back, there were a lot of manholes which were in the shape of a square also. But gradually we started hearing a lot of news that during a rainy day, someone died falling into the manhole. And after certain brainstorming around it, they found out a lot of lids inside the drainage. When people were getting into it, they used to find the lids inside. And then they have changed the design of the lid. The design of the lid. Right? They started making it a circle. Why is it? Because every shape falls into itself except circle. A circle does not fall into itself. Let's look at the example of a graphic design, right? For example, I see a hoarding and hoarding is trying to sell something. It is motivating me to take an action. Whereas an art is not trying to motivate me to do something. An art is just expressing. I am interpreting an art in my own way. Whereas design is trying to motivate me. It has an agenda, it has a problem to solve, it has some constraints that it needs to work on. If you call an interior designer, you give them a room and say that I want you to design this room. Interior designers go with a sequence of questions. They'll ask you, okay, cool, I'll do that. But what do you want this room for? What is the purpose of the room? How many people might be coming? Do you want to keep an air condition in this or not? A lot of questions they want to understand and try to solve the problem that you're trying to solve. They will probably define a problem for themselves to come up with a solution even though you don't give them a problem. But if I call an interior artist and ask them to work in the room that I give, they'll start looking at a wall. They might come up with an installation. They might have a sculpture. They might have a painting. They're not trying to solve a problem. So a design is solution oriented. An art is a expression oriented. This is the basic difference. So we started looking at the difference between art and design. Now we're trying to understand the architecture. Architecture has art, science, and also design in it. It is a combination of these things which will make a building, right? For example, I want to do architecture of buildings. I want to do landscaping. I want to get into planning. There is an artistic angle to it. There is a problem that you're trying to solve, and there is engineering that is involved in it. So if you're a person who likes art and science, maybe architecture is something that you can see. If you're a person who just enjoys expressing something through what you write, what you draw, what you sketch, what you do, then maybe an artist. if you're a person who tries to solve a problem, and I'll tell you, I've seen designers who have that Jugaadpanti also. For example, they might be converting waste into something best. They know how to fix a problem along with their creativity. If you think this is something that you connect with, whether it be architecture, whether it be design or art, then you can choose this along with your intermediate. For architecture, definitely you need to be from MPC background or the PCM background, or if you want to get into design or art, you can do any subject combination and get into them. You have NID as one of the top institutes in the country, and NID has multiple campuses, NID Ahmedabad being the top. You have NIFT for fashion, you have JJ College in Mumbai for arts, you have a lot of design institutes, you have School of Planning and Architectures, you have CEPT, you have a lot of different institutions which are helping you to achieve your goals and targets. Well, at SAJC, we have a course for you. We have a course called D-Access, which is Design Access, and this course students from any group can take if they are aiming for architecture, design or art. When you join the course in your 11th, the first year is the foundational program where you learn all the basic knowledge that is required for you to move ahead. When you come into the second year, then the specialization happens, where by that time you choose architecture or you choose design or you choose fine arts, and then start preparing for entrance examinations related to them. Well, even after this, you might be confused. You might think, sir, I'm not sure. I got a little of what you said, but I want to know more. Sure, you can always reach out to us through phone, through email, or just go to the website and reach out to us. Until then, take care.